Hi, this is Bobby with Grub Mud Concrete. Today we're working out on the west side of Indianapolis where we'll be pouring a driveway and a sidewalk, 4,000 stone air, 1% retarder. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. And if you're not new to the channel, please like and comment. I appreciate everybody that does. It helps grow our channel. Plus, it shows me that you support our channel. And even though we're small, it means a lot. So, like I said, we're working out on the west side of Indianapolis. I showed a preview of this, waiting on mud, but I had to edit it. So what we did is we wheeled it, and we're putting the expansion up. There's 3 ways you can do this. You can use concrete nails. You can do it like the way we were doing it here, or you can use spray glue. I do recommend using the spray glue. It's the best option. We just didn't have any that day. So Anthony's pushing the 2-wheel wheelbarrow, and man, he got this one completely full, which I don't know how he got going again, because usually when you stop like that and you start rolling backwards, you can't get it by yourself. But I guess he's got enough strength and weight to get it going again. Anthony he's been on our videos before. He's a 12-year finisher and pretty much can do about anything. Justin, he's getting to be a finisher and definitely can do any prep work you ask him to. And my dad, he's seen it all. He's been in the concrete business for 35 plus years, and this is my 23rd year. Sometimes I say 25. I apologize. I think this is my 23rd year. But doesn't really matter. Once you got 10 plus, you've pretty much seen it all. So what I do is once we get enough mud up there, I float this out. But take your time floating this, because this is the first mud you put down, and it's going to be a minute before you get back to it. So close it up the best you can and float it out the best you can. What I do is I hit it with a little float like this, and I close it up. You can see that expansion is kind of looking weird right now, but as soon as you float it, puddle it, it'll set back against that brick, and it looks a lot better. But yeah, I float it with this little float, and then I hit it with the Derby. Then we strike it a little bit. Then I'll hit it with the Derby again. I feels like we're always a little bit short-handed when we're doing concrete, and that's okay, because we're pretty good at it, and we've seen it all. And but if you can close stuff up, see how I float these edges before we strike off? That's kind of important. And I cut this board exactly to the length, so we could slide right through our pins. Makes it nice. But you can see there's a little ridge there. So after we strike it, what I'll do is I'll jump back in there with the Derby and take that ridge out. Kind of important. But yeah, just take your time and get it right. We had a super cool driver. Like I've said in my other videos, my dad actually is a retired IMI truck driver, and he knew this driver from back when he used to haul mud. He actually said he was the best driver IMI has. So I'm not gonna say his name, but he's an Indianapolis driver, and he definitely was good. But you see how this is kind of ripping it open. Some of that was because of the 1% retarder we put in. Some of it was because it was a wooden board. So we switched to a different method about halfway down. We used the saw method. It closes it up a lot nicer. But as you go, you got to bull float uphill. So there's a break right there, meaning elevation change. So what I did was I just put one handle on the bull float, and I floated out real quick. And then we'll continue to strike off. There we go again. You can see both of our edges are floated. I like to keep a float really close nearby in case I need to push the mud up against my form or push the mud away from my form so we don't lose it outside. But here's where we start sawing it, and it just closes it up a lot better. I guess another reason we were pouring this about 5 slump going down this hill. My dad actually wanted to use a Vibra Strike on it because it's exactly 10 foot wide, but what do you guys think? If we had used a Vibra Strike on this, you think that mud would have ended up in the street, or you think it would have been all right if we had turned it down low and ran it real slow? I really like to know, because I got a Vibra Strike, but I never use it because we don't do a lot of flat work. So But I would like to know, you guys think a Vibra-Strike would have worked on this going really slow? Or do you think it would have made the mud roll downhill too much? I think it would have made it roll downhill, but I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really big on the Vibra-Strikes. I like the hand screed stuff. But man, they look sweet. You see these guys running them on YouTube and stuff. Man, they look really sweet. Like I said, I got one. Mine's a Whiteman 10-foot wide blade. I've used it twice, I think, but $1,000, got a good deal on it. But I've used it twice, and I'd like to use it, but I'm not that good on it, I guess, and or I haven't had the experience on it. I'm sure I can run it though. So as I'm doing that, these guys are catching up the edges because, like I said, I like to keep stuff caught up. So they float out the edges, and they don't edge it yet. They're just floating the edges. I like to let the edges get a little bit crispy. And this one they did get a little sticky. So you'll see how I edge, and it's a little different than I see a lot of other people doing it. But when it's sticky like that, here we are sawing it again as we're striking it off, and the truck could actually pour this part out. We didn't have to wheel it, so it was pretty nice. You see he's getting positioned for where he needs to be next. But when you're doing it like this, you got to keep just like an inch of mud on the board when you're sawing it, because it just doesn't, you'll run out. I don't know, you're exactly on grade and you're just sawing it back and forth. You're closing it up, so you want to have about an inch of concrete on your board. You just don't want to lose it to the outside. That's why I said it's kind of nice to float your edges first so you don't lose it so quick. So we'll get all this struck off down to the city sidewalk, and then we're going to switch techniques on striking it off. We use what they call an idiot stick on the rest of the driveway. I don't know, do you guys ever use these idiot stick things? They're kind of sweet, really. You know, there's 5 poles right there. I think I ended up using 6 or 7 when I got down to the street and bull floated it uphill. The reason I keep on bull floating it uphill and doing more than just that 6-foot section was because the top, it's got retarder in it, and you want to keep that surface wet. So I kept on pushing that all the way up to the garage, and that's the way I do it. I've seen some guys just bull float that little section there that's where the rocks are showing, but I like to keep it all bull floated nice. And plus the drivers here, they don't give us a hard time. We might give them a hard time, but they don't give us a hard time. Nah, I'm pretty cool with the drivers. I try to be real respectful. So yeah, so here's my dad. He's getting the idiot stick out, and he's just striking it off with that. It's like a real big come along, 4 foot wide. The driveway's only 10 foot wide, so I knew he could get it flat with it. He did a pretty good job. So after he does the city sidewalk, I have to bull float it, but we're putting the expansion in right there on the curb. We got it cut to length. He's got to do a little bit more right there. The driver put just enough mud exactly where he needed it. That's how you know you got a good driver. I couldn't imagine using one of those trucks with the rear chutes on the back. I've never ever used one, and I hope to never use one. These trucks here are just so nice. So I bull floated that, and you can see there's a spot in the middle where it's low. The bull float's not touching. So you got 2 options. You can either pump it like this, or if it's that deep, you know you need to throw some mud in there. So what I do is I get a shovel, and while he's idiot sticking the rest, I just throw a little mud in there. It would have been all right. This thing's got so much fall on it, but I don't know. I like to close it up and do it right. So there it is. It bull floated in real nice. Then I come around the other way and I bull floated uphill. I think I end up putting, like I said, 7 bull float handles on it. Going the other direction all the way up to the garage. That's a lot. You know, your poles start bending and your hands are all the way above your head trying to keep it from touching. But at first I just had the one because I wanted to blend that in the best I could. So I do all that and scoot over, and I get there's actually a little ridge right there from my bull float, but when I pushed it this way, it pushed it right out. And here I am. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 handles. I could tell by my shadow. But yeah, so I bull floated real good. They're floating the edges. I cut my joints. what we do is we snap a string line from one side to the other, and then I take this laser beam joiner from Cadillac Concrete Products, and I cut my joint right on that line. I mean, this joiner is so good. You see how it's got a little screw sticking up in the front. It's 3/4 inch deep. Great for 4-inch thick concrete. But yeah, it's so sweet, man. You don't even need a string line popped on it, but I go ahead and do it anyway just to make sure. But it cuts them so straight. Their joiners are off the hook too. They got a joiner for intersections called an airplane joiner. It looks kind of like an airplane, and it's good for cleaning up your intersections. So here's how I edge it. I told you guys I edge a little differently. When it's sticky like this, I'll dip my edger in a bucket of water. I don't throw water on it. I'm just dipping it in a bucket of water, and it just edges right through. So I have a funny float from Cadillac Concrete Products too, and I don't really use it like you see a lot of other guys doing it like a floating motion. I just go straight sideways back and forth, and here they are finishing out the sidewalk. They had to shovel some of that mud to the other. We did another spot down by the street, but so yeah, so I do a little sweeping motion, as you can see, but I don't really. There was a little hole right there, so I had to fill that up. But I do a little sweeping motion, but I pretty much just push it sideways, and it turns out pretty sweet. So I guess to each his own. Funny floats are not a real big thing here in Indiana. You see them every once in a while, but a lot of times what you see is just guys crawling it. And we couldn't crawl this one because it was too wet underneath the retard. You got to be careful using 1% retarder. The top will get hard, but the bottom will not hold you on knee boards. You'll actually sink. So yeah, there's everything cut. Now we just got to cut joints in the sidewalk. Me and my dad went ahead and broomed this while they were cutting the joints in the sidewalk. Now it is pretty steep, so I got out my little broom, my coarsest broom I had, and I put a broom on it. My dad actually broomed it, but I wanted a medium to a heavy broom on it because of the steepness of the driveway, and everybody else would too. You would definitely want a pretty heavy broom on it. So got out one of my old ones, and we broomed it. And then in Indiana, you always see the edges shined. I use a 6-inch edger, so we shine our driveways with either this or a combo edger. I think it looks really, really good. Now, we don't shine our joints a lot of times in the driveways, but we might start. I got a pole joiner that fits it really, really good. But what we do is we shine right up to it, and don't close up your joint. You jump it, and then you shine the other direction. Sometimes you got to push your finger on the outside of the edger to actually leave your line. So there it is, all shined. Now we got to do the city sidewalk. This has to be broomed the other direction. Some neighborhoods will actually make you tear it out if you don't broom it the correct direction, because people are walking across that sidewalk, so it's actually a sidewalk. It's not a driveway, so you have to broom it sideways. Here's Anthony and Justin. They're laying out the joints for that part. And me and my dad are finishing the broom. I finished the bottom part right here because he didn't want to close up those joints. But it was hard enough that we didn't have to worry about closing up any joints. And then we'll shine the 6-inch edger down the edge, and it'll cover up any of that. Looks pretty good. These are all, it's kind of broom there. All we got to do is shine the joints on the sidewalk and the edges and finish brooming that little part, and we're done. So I'm putting a water-based penetrating sealer on it. In Indiana, you got to watch out because salt will drip off your vehicles. So I put 3 coats of this on it, on the whole job. And Justin's finishing up the sidewalk, and then I sealed it. And then the customer, man, she was so sweet. She actually lost her dog during the job, and me and her had to walk 2 blocks to go find it, but it felt good to find it. Look, she cooked us pizza. She had plenty of drinks, Mountain Dew, Pepsis. You don't get that every day, so I was thanking her, man. She was really, really sweet. Hendricks County, call us 796-8109 or 507-5312, area code 317. You call me or my dad. We'll get you a quote if you're in the Indianapolis or Hendricks County area. West side. She was laughing because I said we work in Hendricks County and we were in Marion County, but that was very nice for her to to hook us up there. Even Andre the Giant got full. There it is done. All we got to do is pick up and put caution tape down. You have to cut those 2 extra joints there because it'll always crack off those corners. So, but yeah, so pretty much all we got to do is put caution tape up and clean up. I know we made a mess, but we work out of a trailer. We don't work off the work truck. So I was showing this joiner. This is the Cadillac Concrete Products. I'm not affiliate marketing with them. I do like Gord Dennis. He's pretty cool. Call him 604-830-1812. Again, 604-830-1812. Tell Gord Dennis, say Bobby Grubb sent me. Saw his video. He'll hook you up. Always put your sign out. Thank you for watching.